my grandmother had 14 children. So my mom is the 12th of 14 children, right? And in total, we are, I think, 39 grandchildren.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I
Making me sweat.
39 or 40, but I think it's 39.
Yeah.
So I'm from quite a big family.
Definitely.
Yes. And so home was warm, on Sundays, of course. Like
we're never lonely, basically.
Yes. And we went to church as a family on Sundays. We'd come home to a good meal.
Definitely.
And we'd all sit around the table, play games, make jokes, And then in the evenings, without fail, every night we'd gather in my grandparents' bedroom and pray. So that was pretty much it. I stayed with my grandparents in the early stages of my life, and then at a later stage I moved back in with my parents. Moving to a Catholic school.
And just hold it. I have a fear that I didn't press the record button all the time. I did press it. I always have that fear. Okay.
Yeah, so moving along, I was quite a reserved little girl. I loved reading, loved going to the library, loved baking with mom. But unfortunately, I was very depressed. I didn't know why at the time. I grew up very depressed. And that made me a child who didn't want to explore much. You know what I mean? Because with depression comes a lot of emotions that you don't understand.
How did you know it was depression? What if maybe it was you being an introvert? What if it was maybe you not being a people's person? However, how did you conclude that it's depression?
I'll tell you what, I think in hindsight, one of my favorite leaders always says, life is taught to us backwards. So when you look back at your experiences and you are maturing and becoming wiser, you realize that no, man, actually, it was depression. And I'll tell you how that was discovered. At the age of 13, because I was acting strange for a child, my mom took me to a therapist. I wasn't open because I was very reserved. And the more he tried to explore my emotions, the more uncomfortable I felt. But I was a depressed little girl, and I also grew up in a family with depression. So I think it was also learned behavior to a large extent. And at a later stage, and as an adult, I spent years in therapy, and I mean years.
So therapy for you, was it a weekly thing, a monthly thing? How often was it?
It was a weekly thing. But I'll tell you, at a point I got so tired of it because I felt like I was just going around in circles, right?
But like just became routine.
Yeah, talking about issues, and I was just like, I'm sure there's more to life than this.
Talking about issues.
You know what I mean? And yeah, at a later stage I just stopped.
Okay.
And life went on. I was that girl that I got out of my shell after I decided I'm stopping therapy.
Okay.
I started going to gym. I started exploring other ways of trying to be happy. Running, did advocacy work for some time.
Okay, wait. I want to explore. I feel like there's so many layers to it, and I have to pass you through them very quickly. So, from you discovering later on in life that you were depressed, that you were suffering from that, and the depression was a biological thing. Chemical imbalance from genes and whatsoever. And now you've discovered that no, therapy is becoming routine, you're doing it religiously now. It's not working for you anymore. There's more to life.
Yes.
So that's where we are. And then you began exploring other avenues of trying to find an outlet for how you were feeling inside. So something in you told you that it's not normal to feel this way. It's not normal to. So we went into sports and gym. Tell us about that time or that season of your life, sports, gymming. What's going on?
I think at the time I felt like there's more to life than talking about feelings.
Yes, definitely.
And sitting and walking through thoughts and why this happened, what happened, who did what. Because that was pretty much what summed up my life. That even as a child in school who had friends. I was one of the saddest child, but let me tell you what was the irony. I was the child that was always smiling, making jokes. Everyone could rely on me, always helping people with homework. And I grew to be that adult that everyone relied on, right?
Okay, so you masked your presence.
I masked my presence. I made myself feel small in certain spaces. Like the self-sabotaging. People say, you're pretty. And
I have a problem with that. I did. Here's my problem.
Yeah.
Here's my issue. Here's my pet peeve. Here's what yicks my ear.
Okay.
How Christians misinterpret humility. That's what bores me.
Yeah.
General consensus is humility is making yourself feel small. Misinterpret humility. That's what bores me.
Yeah.
General consensus is humility is making yourself feel small. Okay, before I carry on with that, with defining what humility is, based on where you are right now in life and what you know about God and Christ and the Word, define for me humility as you know it now, as opposed to what you thought humility was then that you were portraying.
I thought, to be honest, humility was overlooking your own existence. That's what I thought.
Listen. Yeah.
No, because the minute you are bold about who you are, then gutiwa uyaphapha.
Be pompous.
Go. Yeah, and I grew up in that environment where I was constantly shut down as a child because I've always been a lover of fine things, good things in life. I loved exploring. But you get home and you share your experiences and it's like, hey, you and these things of yours. You know what I mean? And you try new measures of exploring and they're like, but these things are for white people. Why are you doing these things? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I was that child that explored things that people didn't even try. But that didn't really get anywhere.
Okay, so you were brought up in a context of a parochial mindset. Right, parochial meaning narrow-minded people, to say that anything that's beyond what they know is taboo. Anything that's beyond what they know, So that's what made you downgrade who you are through your exploration, and you consider that humility.
That was the narrative.
Okay.
Then.
Yes.
But I think for me, it's obviously not a conventional way of describing it, but I do believe that humility is knowing that you're not the end and be all. Life is not centered around you. For me, humility is being about who Christ is.
Yes.
I mean, Christ bore the pain of the cross, not considering his own deity. I'm not quoting it as per the scripture, but I'm just giving you a picture of who he was. He is divine, he is God, yet he lived like a human being, right? For the purpose of a greater cause. Never defended himself, never explained at all, because the purpose of what he was doing was to get you and I saved. So he focused more on the bigger goal and less on himself, without denying his identity.
Hebrews 12:1 and 2.